Hey everybody, welcome to Better Off Left. I think we're episode 4 now, so we're looking a little bit more consistent these days. I got a little art in the background, like I said I would. I want to start putting quotes up on this whiteboard, but I realized that I would have to write everything backwards. And so I swear to God, I started like 5 minutes a day to like put one up there, and then I was like, nah, this isn't gonna work. I don't have enough time. Like I gotta, I gotta prep that shit like hella before. But anyway. Today, if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be talking about the earthquake or earthquakes. I don't think we talked about this yet, but there's been 2 now. Both of them, I think, with the epicenter being in Carson,
right?
Which is kind of weird. And then we want to, since we want to like back up from all the controversial topics, I figured we talk about COVID, vaccines, and cops, right? Like kind of low issue, not really going to stir up much trouble type topics, right?
Definitely not.
All right, man, let's get into these earthquakes.
Yeah, for sure. So last week, actually, on September 17th, on a Friday, around 8 o'clock, there was a 4.3 or 4.6 earthquake in Carson, California, Carson was at the epicenter of that earthquake. And folks in Carson, folks in Wilmington felt that. And it was pretty strong. Like, I was actually in town that day, and I was at a buddy's house, and we were at his top floor, right? And we hear rumbling at first, then we feel shaking, and then we just feel this jolt, like this really hard jolt. And I don't know if it was because we're just at the second floor, or if it really was the earthquake that jolted us that way.
No, I was just going to say really quickly, and then you can get back in. I was going to say I'm used to earthquakes, at least out here, right, in Southern California, giving me a little bit of sway. Yeah. But I didn't feel any sway. Like, it just like you said, just like a punch, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And so, dead ass, I'm like, oh, like something just blew up around here. I don't know what just blew up. And just for, reference, I live in Gardena, right? So, I'm just like, yo, so what just happened here? And then you get a little bit of a tremble afterwards, and that kind of let me know, oh, this is an earthquake. But beforehand, I was like, oh no, somebody's car just blew up. Somebody's Nissan is on fire outside.
Yeah, interesting that you mentioned that, because me and my friend, we exit his home, and he lives right next to. Well, he lives right next to 2 refineries. Well, he lives like directly right next to Phillips 66. In Wilmington and Carson, and then like a little further from that is Marathon. And at Marathon was this fire. So I knew that we had an earthquake, but as you were suspicious of, I was also like thinking like, did this refinery blow up? Because I'm telling you, like, this sky was orange, there was flames in the air, there was smoke in the sky. And his neighbors came out and they were like, yeah, like there was an earthquake and this refinery's on fire. And we go up to his second floor, and I see the flames, and I see it in multiple parts of the refinery. And the report on like their social media, on their Facebook, on their Twitter says that, oh, they're flaring to release pressure. That's kind of what they always say, that it's really safe. Like, it's really for your safety that we're flaring, right? That we're polluting your air. And, which is really ridiculous. Like, there's nothing, as you know, there's nothing safe about flaring at all.
Yeah, really quickly, I was going to say is, even if they're telling 100% of the truth, if you polluting the air that I have to breathe on a daily basis, right, and you can get into if you want to, you can get into the statistics of like, the rates of cancer and all these lung issues and asthma issues that folks in Wilmington deal with. But if polluting the air that I have to breathe on a daily basis is how you protect me, then I would hate to see, what the hell would be, what would be the case if you weren't doing that? You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a good point, because like none of this shit is safe to begin with. So the fact that like something harmful is them conducting safety measures it's wild. But it didn't appear to be flaring to me. I mean, they said it was, right? But who knows with these people? But there was like 2 pipes that you can tell were straight up flaring, because the fire shoots straight up. But then there was other pockets of the refinery that the fire looked very spread out. So that's why I thought that this shit's on fire. So anyway, I got on socials and just kind of did my best with the folks that follow me that I grew up with, and I just shoot that on Twitter like, hey, this shit's on fire. Close your windows, use air filters, and do what you got to do before you come out until it's safe to come out. Yeah, so I was still at my homie's house at 3 a.m. I was staying the night, and at 3 a.m., dude, the refinery was still flaring. And then the next morning, him and I go get some breakfast at Spires. It's a joint that like we would go to a lot with our homies, right? And we passed by this place, and it's still flaring. And then the refinery he lives next to, Phillips 66, is also flaring.
Damn.
In the morning, the very next day, they've been going at it probably all night because, they were doing it at 8, then I saw at 3 a.m., and then I saw the next morning.
And real quick, just to hop in, if I'm not mistaken, right, doesn't Wilmington have like the highest concentration of like oil refineries like in the U.S. period? Am I right about that? I know y'all have like hella.
Yeah, so I will for sure pull that up in the editing process, but we for sure have one of the most concentrated refinery communities in the country. I don't know if we're like number one, but we're surrounded by 4 refineries. But I think we are the number one in communities that's like polluted with oil wells. I think we do have the highest concentration of oil wells in our community. They're literally everywhere. They're behind backyards. They're next to churches. They're next to schools. They're next to the Boys and Girls Clubs. They're next to the parks. Like, they're everywhere, these oil wells.
I guess I only bring up the refinery situation because you're talking about the flaring, and I'm like, if that's just the 1 or 2 that you're seeing, like, I'm just trying to like illustrate to the people who might be watching this to say like there are other words in all likelihood that are also doing the same thing, like just up the road.
Yeah, exactly. That's 2 out of the 4 that surround Wilmington that are flaring, and that's crazy that more than one could be doing that at the same time, pretty much. Because I also got alerts in my phone saying that there were 2 refineries that were flaring, and I'm assuming they were the 2 that I was witnessing. But it's also very possible that there were other ones that I wasn't seeing that were also flaring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so you literally have 4 of these machines like surrounding this community that we've grown up with.
And that's before you even get into freeways, right?
Yeah, that's exactly, because we got the fucking 110 by us too, right? It's got like 4 lanes and shit.
Yeah, it's rough.
So yeah, man, I guess like what I want to for sure emphasize here, like I'm gonna emphasize every time a certain like environmental story comes up, is these industries have posted up in our communities, and until now they have been going up unregulated, unchecked, unnoticed, and there is a rise in folks who are organizing against these industries, who don't want them in our backyards anymore, who don't want them in our neighborhoods anymore. And we need to keep pushing for that. We need to keep agitating for that, for either these places to go as far the hell away from us or to be completely phased out. And yeah, that's really the call that I want to highlight here, is to find your local EJ org, grassroots EJ org, and connect with them.
Mm-hmm. And I just wanted to bring up one last thing, and this is again a question. I saw a lot of folks, a lot of Wilmington folks in particular, posting online like, "Yo, close your windows because they're about to start, flaring. They're about to start, sending all this stuff off into the air." Do you think that's a, not to put you on the spot, but do you think that's like an effective tactic? Is that something you would recommend for folks watching who might live out here in this area or near refineries? Like, when these earthquakes do happen, is that something folks should be looking to do? Is there anything else folks should be looking to do?
To close their windows and such?
I heard people talking also about like air filters and stuff.
Yeah, I think the air filters are really important, and they can be built actually really, really easily. I'll put some sort of a graphic up here, but you take a box fan, just a regular old box fan, and you get an air filter. And there's a way that you could attach the two, and it could, be placed somewhere in your home where it could effectively filter out the air. Um, so yeah, I'll post that graphic up there here on the screen. But yeah, I think of course, there's more we got to do after the fact that there's flaring, but like in the immediate event that there is flaring, I think that's kind of the best way that comes to my mind at that time, right when it's happening, to keep folks safe. Just close your windows, close your doors, use an air filter if you got it. So if you would like to donate to South Beach Community Care, it's a mutual aid organization that Leon and I distribute meals with. And we also run other programs, and we build power in our communities. We have a coffee, a Cash App, a Venmo. They're going to be on the screen right now. And yeah, just go hit that up and donate what you can.
Yeah, man. Colder weather's starting to come in. I mean, colder weather for Southern California. So, we always appreciate, the cash donations, or if you want to hit us in our DMs, if you have like coats and stuff like that, we'll probably start moving those into our storage unit. So we'd appreciate that very much. And honestly, also, come join, bro. If you want to come get into the work, whether that be on our abolitionist project or our mutual aid projects or any of these things, like tap in, let's make a move.
Yeah, and I'll drop our social media for that too, and I can even put our email if you're really interested in joining. And yeah, give this video a like, give it a subscribe, so we can continue to grow this subscription number up. It's at 30 now. I can't wait to see where else it can go. And yeah, we'll see you guys later.
Peace.